Welcome back to How to Start a Cannabis Farm. Yeah, this is step 10. You've just been fucking approved, baby. So, you finally calmed down and you looked back at that letter and realized, shit, we still got work to do. So, that being said, some of the issues that we spoke about previously are overlays that you didn't know that were applicable now. What else? Excuse me. Well, we're just gonna go over it. So, let's see. One of the things that I had to do was I had to address the use of the property and make sure that it was still consistent with what the fuck I was trying to do, you know. So, yeah, the use of my property is still consistent with the production of recreational cannabis in the development inset. And the development does not include greenhouses or hoop houses anymore. Why is that? Well, because step 2, or not step 2, sorry. One of the things, the second thing that was required for my conditional approval was to address the riparian area, the stream, and the elk winter range. I specifically addressed the elk winter range first, and removed the hoop houses and the greenhouses because, according to so-and-so from Fish and Wildlife, my property is found to be within the deer and elk winter range. I cannot move the greenhouses or hoop houses due to them being in a bad placement. So basically, moving them to within 300 feet of the house. Actually, let me go ahead and step back and start this over. The reason that they were supposed to be within 300 feet of the house is because, or they were asking them to be, is because somebody at some point did some, I don't know, calculation and found that new improvements affect, I guess, deer and elk or animals in a 300-foot radius. Now, that's new improvements and structures. Yes, the argument could be made that the clearing and extension of the road and new fencing and all of that would have already disrupted the deer and elk winter range, or deer and elk and other animals within a 300-foot radius. Yes, you could make that argument, and I will be doing so next year. And I'll explain why later. Actually, fuck it. It's just not smart to do it now. I'm trying to get approved. I'm not... Yeah. But also because in a year's time, I can also make that argument that, well, the new improvements have already affected everything in a 300-foot radius, and it's been a year. So they've already been affected, you know, seasonal patterns and whatnot. Migration path, if you will. And that being said, it would make more sense, or it would give my argument a little bit more weight, even though logic really isn't an issue apparently here. It would make more sense for me to be able to put the greenhouses up then as opposed to now, because my actual improvement didn't affect the deer, but the greenhouses do. So anyways, removed them because, you know, you got to be fluid in this shit. And also one of the things that I did, and I just noted, I reduced the canopy due to market saturation, but also because plans changed. You know, and a lot of things changed, just as I was going through it. But again, you know, there's no point in spending a bunch of money and trying to grow a bunch of weed when it's just like you can't even sell it. It's not even if it's good enough or not. There's some amazing cannabis out there that was just outright overgrown. It's fire, but you just, like, there's only so much that can be used, and that's kind of one of the issues. So that's why I was saying, like, my plot plan is, you know, that's the dream, but like it can't really be fulfilled right now. And why would I want to? Like, I'm not trying to take away other people's, income and stuff. Like, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I don't want to make others hate me for doing what I'm doing. We should all be doing this together. But anyways, the security cameras, water storage, and mixing tanks have all been moved due to the changes in the site plan. Originally, I had security cameras that were just everywhere. And because we were eliminating a huge chunk of the canopy, there was no need to have that many cameras and have them that far away and have to run that much cable, and all just the work. So downsized, and it definitely makes things a little bit more convenient. But at the same time, this potentially sets me up so that if I decide I want to grow a little bit more hemp, I can do so now. Because I haven't spent all this money, and it wouldn't seem like a bad investment, especially now when even farms are still consolidating. Anyways, so as far as the stream, I contacted Fish and Wildlife. So first off, let me just go back. With the greenhouses having to be moved, I contacted Fish and Wildlife, and one of the things and one of the reasons why I also chose not to move my greenhouses to within 300 feet of the house, because that would have been the closest thing and blah, blah, blah. My property doesn't have a lot of area where I can revegetate, and that would be the issue. Is I would have to clear even more trees and even more vegetation to move the greenhouses from where they were going to be to where they'd be, within 300 feet. And then I would still have to spend even more money revegetating. And even if I did all that, I would actually be putting the greenhouses in worse places. I'd be putting them, right up against trees up until maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, where the sun would, be just over the trees or just above them, I guess noon. It was just a bad idea altogether. So instead of being stubborn and I want my fucking greenhouses, that doesn't make sense. So I'd rather have, the quality over just saying I have a fucking greenhouse. So decided to sacrifice the greenhouse and keep the great sunlight and the great terrace and everything that I've already done, because man, I'm trying to enjoy what I do. So, and I actually had to contact Fish and Wildlife again about the stream as well. And they sent me their maps, and I came across their specific map while doing all my own research on the property. And I noted it, but I didn't think anything of it. But apparently there's some sort of mix-up, and they claim that there's a stream running right through there, so I had to contact and physically go take pictures of where the supposed stream was. And again, that was on Google and all that shit, and I had to email screenshots from the satellite view of Google. I had to go take pictures of where the stream supposedly went through and show, no, there's a road here, and it's been dug down and there's no water coming through. I had to go take pictures of where the actual stream was, and then show water, show the culvert, show my driveway, and kind of picture my way all the way back, so that they could see that I'm not just taking a picture of some random stream somewhere. So I had to do that, and then have them email me back saying, they confirm it or they approve of that, and then I had to submit that as part of my supplemental information as well. Hence, the stream is not on the property of interest, and attached are maps showing the said stream. Addressing the lawful water acquisition. Again, there's just some things where it's just not worth it because it delays your application every time. Excuse me. I just went to the city and got a statement from them saying, this is how much water costs, and that I could get water here, and that was sufficient as well. Let's see. One of the other things I needed was to provide a long-term access agreement. And again, that was an agreement between myself and the people which I have an easement with, stating that I can use the property for commercial use for the next 10 years. That, and actually, let's see, I think I have it. I might be able to just briefly read it to you. Well, all it says is that I'm going to do a bunch of maintenance and repair work. That's all you need to know. And they asked me specifically that I record that with the county clerk. That was just one of their requirements, so I did. Again, they had issues in the past with people being dicks and manipulating them for their road use. And, that was something they just want to protect themselves with, and I completely understand. And, again, I'm trying to work with people, and I intend on trying to help them out and eventually help them set up a hemp farm on their property. But, I have to show them that I'm thoroughly capable of handling myself and handling them, so that they can trust me to handle themselves and handle everything for them as well. So it's just part of it. You got to be fluid. Let's see. So the approach permit that they asked me for, I went to roads department. And again, the commercial road approach, that's just like an asphalt ramp, basically, that just makes it easier to get from your driveway onto the county road with, so that you do as little damage as possible. I went to the county roads department, filled out a little application, got a permit. Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, granted, you still have to hire somebody to actually do it, but I'm just, I got it done. Let's see, some of the other things that I had to address, just because of some of the memos, was that where am I getting electricity from if there are no utilities? We'll be doing off-grid, so generators, solar panel, that sort of thing. The county storm drain facilities are not to be used because, again, the property's up in the mountains, not directly off the county road. And all the applicable permits have been acquired. As for the alternative siting plan required by Fish and Wildlife, because of the greenhouses and the deer and fish and wildlife, deer and elk winter range habitat, I created a site plan, showed Fish and Wildlife, he approved. That was that. The floor plan for the security room, again, it's same shit. You've done it for the greenhouse, you did it for the plot plan. It's just another box with some more boxes in it. What else? I removed the greenhouse and hoop houses. As far as the deed declaration regarding the bathroom and them wanting to make sure that it wasn't going to be turned into a living quarter, I replied, no structures shall have plumbing fixtures, bathroom further defined as a porta potty, and that a fire safety inspection will be requested after all the requirements are met. Yeah, surprisingly quick, surprisingly easy. But at this point, it's all the little bullshit. It's all loose ends. It sucks because when you submit this, you still have the same feeling as, oh my gosh, I really hope they don't send me another one. But that's it. You've done everything. You've addressed all of it. There's nobody else they can send it to. They've sent your application to everybody. That's it. You've been conditionally approved. You're responding now to all the conditions and showing that they've all been met. That's it. Step 11 is your information sheet. And it basically states that everything's been done. So with that, this is the end of Step 10, Supplemental Information, Part 2. And next up will be Step 11, the information sheet. So with that, thank you for listening to How to Start a Cannabis Farm.